Hi, Nicholas here. If you're new to this channel, you're a classical student, I'm going to show you something right now to show you why you should be considering coming over to this method. So if you look at bar 23, when you're trying to work out a piece of music, are you doing this? Are you say looking at that bar and going, okay, what's this note here? Okay, we've got a C here, we've got an E, we got what's that, a F? Okay, and then we look here, oh, what's all this? So we're looking over here, so looking bar 23, the second bit of it. We've got, what's that, a B flat there? Oh, it's doing, what's that doing? Oh, it's doing that. Okay, yes, I bet. Yeah. Now, oh, we've got to bring them together. All right, so what do we do? So basically, it's just trying. Is that your approach? Sort of not trial and error, but you're looking and then you're trying to match it. Then you're going slowly. Now, the issue with this is that you're not putting any understanding to what you're doing. Right? You're just looking at the notes and trying to work it out first on the piano, and then hopefully you'll be able to get the muscle memory going onto it. But with the Akousunesis method, what we do is we give you more understanding of what's going on, because when you understand things and of what's going on in the piece, it gives you more multiple memory associations, and it makes it easier to remember things. And when you come back to it, muscle memory is not very reliable. You come back to the piece again after many years, and if you don't have any other memory associations to work it out, you can't play it again because you can't remember the muscle memory. You've got to work it all out again, and it takes longer to work it out. So it's very beneficial to understand what you're doing in music. So we're going to look at, last week we looked at last lesson, we looked at Elise section 1 and 2 over here. So we're going to move on, and we're going to look at just these bars here. So we're going to go right up to bar 30. Now I've listed the bars here. So the first thing we need to do is we've got to work out, we can see that there's a flat there, so it's suggesting that there's going to be a key change here. So initially we're in the key of C Aeolian, which is a key of A minor, right? But we have a B flat. So if we've got a B flat here, let's just look at some of these notes, say in bar 23, right? We've got a B flat, we've got a, so is the note here, right? B flat. We got C, and we got a high C up there, right? We got an A and we got a G. So we're coming here, right? There's the A, right? And there's the G down there, right? And there's the B flat again here, right? So we've got two B flat. So, okay, so we've got all these notes. And we got C and we got E. Well, straight away I look at that and I go, well, to me that looks like C minor 7, okay? So if we know it's C minor 7, this whole chord is just based on C minor 7, right? We're going to write it down up here, so bar 23, C minor 7. But it's an interesting C minor 7 because we call this a slash chord. And this is very common in jazz circles too. It's called dropping the bass. So you got a different bass note. It's called a slash chord, right? So you've got the chord C minor 7 you're playing up here, right? But we've got a different bass note and we're just dropping it. So we hear that bass dropping, and we're hearing a few things in this. It's quite an interesting little piece, little section here, because if we look at it, we've got a high note, which is C, and then we've got a middle note here, which is C again. And it's just doing this, right? So if the right hand's doing this, you say, well, where's the melody here? Is it this note or is it this note? Well, I define a melody as something that stands out, right? Something that's moving. I call it the highest moving note. So I would define this as the melody as the most important. So if this is the most important, what we hear, we can sort of ignore the C for now. But seeing it's the root of the chord, let's just ignore the C, right? And just for now, we're just going to go, which is just 3, 4, 5. Very basic, 3, 4, 5. But we're also dropping the bass now, right? And we just get used to what that's doing, right? So we're not developing muscle memory at this stage, right, of how to place our hands and flow from the next bar to this bar. We're just working it out, right? We're just giving us some understanding, and it'll help you when you do try to start to develop your muscle memory, right? But you want to sort of work things out first, right? So the right hand. All right, so if I know I'm doing this, what else have we got on the bottom there? We've got the C. Okay, I can leave that out for now because that's my thumb's just going to add that in, right? So we got 3 notes here, right? So we got the 2 notes here, right? And then we've got where's this B flat again? Like that, right? So we're going, right? Sort of like what this is doing. So we're playing 2 single notes, then a double note, 2 single notes, then a double note. And then fills out that chord a bit, right? Now we don't have at the moment, I'm just showing you without the root, right? But we've got the G at the bass. The root we're going to put up here. So we call this a slash chord, C7, right? Slash G, right? And that G's at the bass. Like that. So, and then we're just putting a high G too, you know, right? And then now that we've worked it out, we can start to get that muscle memory, right? And start to get the muscle memory flowing into it. So if you're new and you're a classical student, that's the approach. It just gives you more understanding of what you're doing, and it will help your memory of when you're trying to work pieces out. Now let's look at the next bar. So we'll just continue. Right. So the next bar is pretty easy. If we look at the notes here, you see how you get those 2 quick notes, right, over here. But it's just F, right? We can see, and they're just fast. So we'll do it over here, and then it goes up to the high over here, high 1, and then drops. So when we look here, we don't have any timing information at all. Now that is good, because I find a lot of people start to learn, when I was young too, trying to learn classical, and you're trying to concentrate to get the timing right. Always, that's sort of the first thing, you're trying to get timing right, and the teachers are saying, get your timing right. That's really bad. It's not good. You don't have to worry about timing. Timing is a thing that comes naturally, right? If you don't understand what you're doing, right, and your hands aren't getting on the notes, it's not going to help you, your timing, right? You need to know what you're doing first, and then the timing comes. Once you know where your fingers are going, then you can work on the timing. Stop trying to get a metronome and doing your timing. Just throw timing out the door for now, right? You don't need it. It will come naturally, right? We need to understand what our fingers are doing first, right? So you see this and you see, oh, look at all these little notes. So they're quick, fast notes and lead notes here. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about, that's a crotchet. Oh, that's a semiquaver. Don't worry about it. Just look at the notes, right? And see what chord it is. So we've got these here. We're looking here, right? With my mouse. So we've got the fast notes there. It's a 1, 3, 5 over the chord F, right? We know it's going to do that. That melody there, right, is something you hear, right? You've heard this piece a billion times, you know. So we're here. That's all that bar now. That's all we're up to there, right, on F. So it's just an F. Very basic, that one. High 1. And then that 7 there on the F is the same note, it stays the same note when we change to B flat. And it's a -5. So now your ear is hearing that interval, right? It's hearing these intervals. That's a -5th interval. That's a 5th. See, it sounds smoother. That sounds a little bit more dissonant. But it resolves to the 3, right? And we got minus up here. -5 resolves to the 3, and then it goes to the high 1. So also on this information, there's no information that's telling you to go up and down, right? Right? Your ear will eventually take over. You don't need to rely on the sheet music showing you to go up and down, right, with this method. Eventually, you'll find that these numbers aren't even necessary. You'll hear the melody and you'll just play it. But classical pieces can be a bit more complex, especially when you get to things like here, right? And if you want to play it exactly, because if you're in a classical school, they're going to want you to play it note for note, which I'm not happy about that approach, but fine. If that's what you want to do, that's perfectly fine. But if you're just learning from sheet music, you won't be able to improvise. You certainly won't be able to transpose it easily. Right? You're going to have to change every note. So with this system, we can easily transpose. We just change the chords. The melody in the intervals stays the same, but we change the chords. And even if you represented the chords as Roman numerals, then that's completely key independent. You can just put that in any key. But when you're changing keys, you have to learn it with your visual eyes, your visual memory of the new key placements, new hand placements. But working it all out is easy because you've already done it in one key, and it's the same. All the rules apply in the next key. All right, let's look at bar 26. Okay, and this one's a little tricky too. So we're over here, okay, and we've got to decide on what chord we're going to use. So what's the best way? Now we can see that we've got some notes too close together here, right? So we've got these notes here, right? And it comes. Now Beethoven must have had a bad day because putting two notes so close together down low doesn't sound good, But it gives it a bit more of a darker sound. But I probably would have chosen to put them up here. And you could use your thumb to select them, but he's got an E there, so he wants to put. So when he starts off, you almost think it's F because he's starting on E, right? And we start on the F. So we're here. So we start on the F here, like that. And this is the seventh. This is the major seventh here of F, right? So if we chose F, it would have been the intervals would have been a bit more difficult to explain. But the reason G minor is a better choice is because if we eliminate this crunchy sound and just go with G minor, right, it will sound fine, the chord. So you could even play this whole thing just over G minor without this sound, right? But he wanted to have that crunchiness. I would have put it up here, but it doesn't matter what I would have done. So all right, so we're going to choose G minor. Okay, if that's G minor then, so it's just coming down. So it's a second there. If that's G minor, that's 2, 1, 7. So we can see that it's coming down on G minor, and it's a slash chord with F at the bass, right? So G minor, and up here with G minor, that's a 6, right? That's a harmonizing chord here, right? So we don't put that in. We haven't put that in here. And we're just coming down like that. So you can see G minor. So we got 2, 1, minor 7, right? Tone down, right? 6, right? Now we know there's G minor. We know that's a 6. You see, it comes up there. There's your fifth rule, and there's your 6. So it's G minor coming down. So if I just played G minor, it would work fine. And you could play it with just G minor if you're having trouble with trying to get this right. Well, you could play it with G minor, and it would work fine. So by knowing the chord, by giving you understanding of what you're doing, it's you know what notes to remove for it to sound okay, and where it's, So anyway, so let's get the next one. So the next one's pretty easy. It's just F. So bar 23 and bar 26 were the tricky ones, right? Because we have these notes close together. But bar F it's the sound we're hearing on F is when it comes down where it's landing on that 4, and we hear that very definely. And again, don't worry about the speed of the notes. Just go slowly too till you get it, you know. The timing comes later. Right? So I'll highlight actually where we're up to too. So we're here at the moment, okay? Right? So we've got F. So when we come down from bar 26 here and we come to F, we're landing here. Right? So it's the 4 we're listening for, that 4 sound. And then it's just 3, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? And don't worry about the speed of the notes, right? Of course they're fast, right? Right? But so that's the sound. So that's pretty easy, that bar, right? And then we're on to this bar here. So again, we're still on F7, right? So it's a 7th chord, F7, with a minor 7th, right? There's F, there's a minor 7th, a tone down, right? So then we're going, there's the 6, remember the 5th rule, there's a 6, and there's the minor 7th, tone down. So we're going, and then we're coming to the 5. I'll highlight that. So let's have a look here. It's A minor 5, but so we've got E. If we look at bar 29, we'll move this up too, so we can go where we're at. Right. So that bar there, the 6, 7 here, are these notes here. Right. That's where it comes out of key. So that's that sharp note that comes out of key. And we're setting ourselves up to come back into the key of A minor. So then we've got, if we look at the notes now on bar 29, right, the lowest note there is the E. You know? That's why we've got a slash chord there, because it hits that E coming down. And the high E is that 5. So it's doing that. Now we could have had it. We didn't have to have a slash chord. We could have just had A minor at the bass, and it would have worked fine. So when you break it out, and things like different bass notes can always be removed, and you can always have a root as a bass. It just adds a bit more character of when you add a different bass note. You know, it can make it sound nice. So, but. And then that goes to the +5. There's the 5, +5 and back to the 1, and then it goes to the C. But it's G. So we got slash chords here. So slash chord means it's a different bass note. So we just play the A minor, and there's the E. Now we could add more notes here if we want, right? So knowing the chords, if you know the chords, then you know you can add more notes to it, and you'll still keep the same idea of what's going on, right? The flow of it is still going to be okay, but you can harmonise now. You know how to harmonise more notes into it. So having understanding is very powerful, because you not only remember easier, you can start to improvise and add more things. All right. So and then it just ends on C with a G as your bass note on bar 30, and then it's just lands on the 1, right? But then it does this, and we'll do that next time. We'll look at that next time, right? So that's it for today, and I'll probably do two more to do the next couple of sections. So I think you've got an idea of. It's quite powerful if you can break a piece of sheet music into chords and then analyse it, because you'll know if it's a tricky section, you know what notes to leave in, and you can practice without those notes, and then you can add them in slowly, right? So you can get the flow of the piece, and also you can add other notes, and then you can improvise over the piece. And I didn't even mention, but you could transpose as well. You don't have to play it in this piece. Once you've brought it down to this level, you could change these chords to a new key, and we'll have a lesson on how you do that. Once you do that, then the intervals don't need to change. So I think I mentioned that already. Okay, so that's all for today, and I'll see you in the next lesson, next video, whatever that's going to be. All right, see you, bye.